All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are here at Bad Rock. This is the first Elite Series out here in Kansas City in a couple years. We're here playing the Bad Rock disc golf course. And this front nine video is sponsored by Reactor Projekt. They're a local apparel brand here in Kansas City. So if you want to support them, support the local brand, check them out and let's get into it. All right, we got hole one here. This is an awesome starting hole, beautiful starting hole. We got some rock work around the green. We got kind of three landing zones here. We got one short left. It's gonna play about 300 to 400 feet. We got one that's gonna play 400 to 500 feet where that first batch of rock work is. And then you have the basket sitting at about 540, something like that. Obviously, all these shots are playing a lot downhill, so you're gonna subtract about 40 to 50 feet from the actual distance that it shoots because of how far downhill it is. I'm gonna throw a couple just to warm up to that short left landing zone, just with a couple Raptors, just to kind of get a feel for the hole and warm up. And then I'm gonna try maybe one or two to the second and third landing zone, which is the more aggressive landing zone. So try a couple Raptors here, throw them up over top of the lake, and I'm gonna wanna give them a lot of height. The higher I throw them, the more of a chance it has to land safe. The lower I throw it, the more it has a chance to go in the water. So this shot's really about the height to give it that chance to go back to that left side safe area. So throw it nice and high. This one might be a little bit too far high, too left. We'll see. This is obviously my first time throwing it, so hit a little bit too high. Should be safe, but this is a big crosswind pushing that way, so I'm gonna have to throw it a little bit wider than I wanted on that first one because it started pushing a lot to that left-hand side. So that one's, and once again, is a little bit too high. You get caught up in that wind, but it looks like it should be all right. I mean, when you're laying up on a shot like that, you're really just trying to play safe, which I am. I'm gonna throw a second shot to get a little bit more glide with maybe a distance driver and see what that does. All right, so I got an understable, lightweight 170 to 172 Ti Venom. With this crosswind, you want something that's gonna be a little bit flippier, so that way you can get a little bit of glide before that crosswind hits it. If you throw too stable like I did on those first couple, I threw stable and the wind just took it. So I'm using this bush over here on the right-hand side as kind of my aiming point. I know if I throw over that with something a little bit glidey, hard enough, then it will definitely have a chance to get there. It's gonna be hard in this wind. This is a sacrificial disc, so this is just a disc to see what kind of distance I can get in a similar wind like this, just to kind of use it as a reference point, so that way if it's this condition in the tournament, I know what I'm gonna get into. And I can already tell it's a lot of a headwind, so 540 into a ripping headwind, you're gonna have to realistically throw it 600 plus feet, which is not realistic at all. So I'm gonna try to go to that second landing zone where that camera guy is. That's a lot more realistic in a wind direction like we got right now. So that one is a lot flippier than I thought, Jay. So that was a Venom. As you can see, it's pretty flippy. So the headwind just kind of, it's already flippy to begin with, and the headwind just kind of turned it. So I'm gonna try one more. Is this one flippier or?
No, that one's gonna be more stable.
Okay, so this one's a little more stable. So this one should hold up. I'm gonna try to throw pretty much the exact same shot. I threw that disc exactly how I wanted it. I just didn't expect it to flip that much. So try a similar shot. There we go. That one should be high enough to where it'll come back and land in that landing zone. So that's kind of what I was going for. So that's going to that second landing zone I'm talking about, just like that. So that obviously had a lot more risk than the first couple, but also the second shot, upshot, is a lot easier. So far with this wind, I'm gonna look at the first and the second landing zone as options. The third one's a little bit too much headwind, way too much risk, and there's just not the reward with as stiff as a headwind as we have. All right, so my first safe layup is right here. I hit this tree and kind of dropped, and now I'm left with a super tricky upshot. As you can see, I got rock wall short, I got drop off long, but I'm definitely gonna wanna err on the side of going too far. So basically an ideal shot from right here would be 20 to 30 feet long. Parking this shot's just kind of not worth it, because if in order to park it, you have to slide up to the basket, and you don't have that luxury with those rocks right there. So I'm gonna throw kind of a higher shot, stall shot, just to kind of kill the distance, something like that. Let's see how it drops and see how it enters the green. Okay, so that was pretty ideal. I'm gonna throw one more. It landed soft just like I wanted, so I threw it nice and high, played the headwind, and dropped. That should be about a 20-footer from left. So I'm gonna try a similar shot here again. Just like that. That's pretty much exactly what I want. Nice and soft into the green. Yep, just like that. So that's an awesome shot. Really happy with both of those. If I land here, I kind of have a good feel for, got about a 5 or 10 mile an hour headwind. I know kind of the distance control that I want now that I threw a couple shots from here. And as you guys can see, this is kind of the first landing zone. The second landing zone is up here, and that's a little bit more risk, but a lot easier of a 3. You can pretty much just pitch up and get your easy 3. And then obviously the go for it landing zone is up there. So yeah, it's a great hole. You can play it as a 2-shot par 4. It's a drivable par 4 if the wind's good. And then if you throw a shot like this, like I did here, it's basically just a long jump putt, because I took all the risk off the tee to land here. And then once I did, I have a long jump putt, basically easy 3 potential, you know, to throw it in if I make a long putt. So it's a great starting hole, gives you a lot of different opportunities. So this is one of the trickier greens on the course. I wanted to do a highlight of the green. And if you guys want to come with me, I'll show you kind of all the variables we got. There's my upshot from the second shot. But as you can see, we have this rock formation short. So it makes you throw a higher shot, which that higher shot actually takes you down this grade behind the basket. So if you throw it too far, which is kind of the play, you want to err on the side of too long, down this slope 20, 30 feet, but then you're putting right back at the water. So really good hole design. It utilizes this slope very well, utilizes the rock formation really well, and just a very well designed par 4 green for a go for it, for a layup. No matter what it is, you're getting challenged on the putt, the drive, and the upshot. All right, so for my layup, I landed here. Like I said, I wanted to land on the side of the long side of the basket, which is what I did, and that just makes sure that you've got that chance to get that birdie. You're not giving away strokes by throwing it into the wall, which very likely could happen. If you hit that wall and drop, it's going to be who knows what, a bogey, double bogey potentially. So yeah, erring on that, really making sure you err on the side of long, giving yourself that chance for the birdie. All right, we got hole 2. It's a 365-foot par 3 through 2 wood posts. It's not a mandatory, but that's going to be the recommended shot for most people. It's going to play more like 400 feet just because of the uphill grade. We have a rock pile kind of short. It's going to leave you just outside the circle. It's my first time throwing this basket, so I'm definitely going to throw a couple shots and then kind of gauge the hole once we get up there based on where my discs are. We have a little bit of a left to right wind. I'm really honestly trying to throw it right by that blue basket. Right over top of that is going to kind of take you in line to the basket, the long basket that we're playing. So that's a little bit left. Looks like it'd probably be out of bounds, but we'll see when we get up there. I'm gonna throw one more, just throw a little bit more turn on it. So obviously with it being uphill, my nose is gonna be up and it's gonna wanna hyzer out like that first one. So I'm gonna counter this one by throwing a little bit more turnover on it. There we go, that's much better. So that should be turn and then come back at the end. That was a much better shot. So we'll see where those two are, get up there and then throw some putts. So yeah, there's a lot of cool rock formations on these fairways, on these greens. Definitely makes it very unique and makes it a good challenge on a lot of these holes. Because if you don't throw good shots, you're gonna hit them and get a bad reaction off of the rock bounce. So here's my first one, short left, and which is fine. I just didn't make the adjustment because it was my first time playing the hole. The second one made the adjustment, got myself pin high, much better shot just because I was able to see the first one fly, see the distance and everything, and make the adjustment. So second one was an onyx, so probably be going with the onyx. We do have like a pretty good left to right wind, and gonna be doing a couple spin putts from here. You got, as you can see, super windy on these uphill baskets. But yeah, definitely like to go with the spin putt whenever I got uphill basket like this. It just fights through the wind a lot better than I can do a high to low putt. It just gets affected a little bit more with the wind versus the straight at it spin putt. All right, we got hole 3, 605-foot par 4, basically an L-shaped par 4. You can see this white cap old pin position. That's a good distance marker. If you can be about 60 feet left of that, that's going to take you into a good landing position to throw a second shot. Basically just want to throw a putter, something that's going to go straight and fade a little bit left. I'm going to try a backhand putter and then also a forehand just to get through this gap because it is a pretty tight gap, and I want to make sure I hit the gap. So I like to sometimes throw forehands on shots like that just to make sure I hit the gap. So I'm going to throw a couple forehands and then I'm going to throw a backhand as well. So first one's going to be just a jawbreaker zone. Throw it through the gap and just try to turn a little bit to the left. Just like that. That's a good spot, I think, JT? Okay, a little bit higher. So that seems like a good spot. I just need to bite off a little bit more maybe. That one looks a little bit better. So try one more putter. I'm totally happy with that, even though I could probably bite off more with the backhand. I know I can hit the gap every single time pretty much with that forehand. So pretty much in the exact same spot as my forehand. I just have a little bit more comfortable feel with that forehand. So landed 3 shots, probably in like a 20-foot circle. So we'll go up there and see where our landing zone is. All right, so here's my landing zone. Pretty much I threw a backhand just up here and then my 2 forehands right in here. I could bite off a little bit more, but then I also risk hitting the gap and not even having a second shot at all. So I'd much rather be pretty much just straight through the gap with a guaranteed shot at the basket, as opposed to trying to bite off maybe 34 more feet to make that upshot easier. At least I have a chance to reach the basket. We got a pretty far shot here. It's probably about 400 feet. It's playing uphill and it's gonna automatically make your nose angle go up and wanna hyzer out. And we do have this long grass that is OB. So this short cut is gonna be safe, and then the long grass is gonna be out of bounds for the tournament. Not marked right now, but it will be for tournament time. So a couple shots. I'm gonna throw one onyx, just like I threw on the last hole. Pretty similar flight is what I'm looking for. Just follow the short grass and the good things will happen. So that's what I'm trying to do with this. So as you can see, that thing normally hyzers quicker, but I turned it and then let the kind of uphill take it to the left. We'll see. It should be pin high. So I'm gonna throw one more. Just trying to throw it just left of those poles, a little bit of flat on it, and then let that wind and crosswind kind of take it back left, because this uphill grade is going to want to take it. If you throw it with too much hyzer, it's going to want to take it way left. So you got to kind of fight it with a little bit of ante. So see how that hill's really taking it left. So that should be safe, I think. So yeah, just past the out of bounds. The out of bounds kind of stops right past where my disc is. The first one I threw it a little bit higher, a little bit more committed of a shot, got pin high. That one I threw it a little bit more tentative, a little bit lower. It's about 50 feet short. So as you see, we're walking up this fairway to the basket here, and it's not only is it uphill, but it's also slanted right to left, which is obviously going to make your disc want to hyzer out, because your disc is going up. So your uphill grade and then your right to left grade is going to naturally want to take it and give it more hyzer than it normally would. So all things to pay attention to in addition to the wind. So we got kind of 3 variables: uphill grade, side hill grade, and then whichever way the wind direction is, you got to account for all of them. So here's my second shot, as I thought, about 50 feet short, which is exactly where it is. We'll go up to my first one, see where that one is. It's a little bit more of a glidey fairway driver, so it might have went a little bit long, but we'll see how long it did go. Looks like it's probably circle's edge long. So gotta watch that I don't blast it too far on the second shot. Almost could throw some sort of mid-range on that second shot if there's not much wind. So always good to take a couple putts from a spot like this. But yeah, throwing the onyx, ESP onyx on that second shot, and going zone off the tee, onyx, and hopefully a focus for birdie. Hole 3, Bad Rock. All right, we got hole 4. It's a 939-foot par 4, and it's a straight shot. The dog leg's right on the second shot. You can see there's trees that are straight ahead. That's about 500 to 515. So you're looking to be just right of those. If you can land somewhere near them on the right-hand side, it kind of sets you up for that second shot. Second shot's kind of a tunnel shot, so I'll show you that when we get up there, but I'm gonna throw kind of a flex shot force or venom, something like that. Just holds a turn the entire way, trying to land 450, 500 feet, kind of pin high with those trees, just a little bit to the right of them. All right, so I'm gonna start off with my ESP venom here on the first shot, and once again, just starting at those trees, trying to throw an ante, drift it to the right, and land in the fairway pocket. That's gonna be, looks like it's gonna be way too far right. So I'm gonna throw another one. Hopefully it doesn't go too crazy. So that's the right-hand side of the rough. You definitely don't wanna be over there. I'm gonna throw one more. Started off a little bit more left, kind of hyzer flip. That one I just kind of turned out of the hand. So I'll kind of make the adjustment on this second one. So that one's a little bit better, but it's still gonna be a little bit too far left, looks like. So haven't quite hit a good one yet on this one, but that should be semi all right. I'm gonna try one more. Throw my Old Faithful venom on this one. Pastry dye. There we go, that one's much better. So it kind of followed the fairway. It's kind of what you're looking for. I want to be a little bit more to the left. That might be in those trees, we'll see when we get up there, but that line was a lot better than those first two. So just kind of keeping the height a little bit lower. Those first two I kind of threw nose up, and that second one, or that final one, I threw a little bit lower more of a line drive. So that's kind of what I've learned throwing those couple shots. And that's why I throw multiple shots on holes like this, just to figure out the height, the nose angle, and exactly how I want to throw the shot. So learned a lot. Even if I didn't throw a perfect shot, I definitely learned. I went right, I went left, and then I made the adjustments on the third one. Oh, I got it. Yeah, it did actually almost get around the corner. That's crazy. If I knew I was that close to reaching the corner, I would have tried. I wasn't even trying to. All right, so first one got cut up a little bit early. Looks like the third one actually I thought was good is actually too far long. So obviously a big learning curve on a shot like this. Threw short, I threw long, I threw too far left behind these trees. But these trees are definitely a good reference point. Almost can downgrade to some sort of fairway, like an onyx or something like that, just to make sure I don't go long. If I throw the onyx, my sweet spot's back here as opposed to the venom, which is over there. So I'm actually gonna throw a shot from where I wanna land, just because now that I know where I can land, I can make the adjustment. Whereas here, it's just basically a layup, nothing really to practice. So it doesn't really do me any good to throw a little layup. So I'm gonna throw a shot from kind of right where I wanna land with a fairway driver. Just throw the same shot I did with the venom, just downgrade to the fairway. So, and that's the basket right there. All right, so we got about a 375-foot shot from the landing zone where I'm preferring to land. And we got kind of 2 rock piles short. I definitely think long left is gonna be the sweet spot, because I don't wanna throw a hyzer into the rocks and then have it roll. So I definitely wanna throw it nice and high, keep it high, give it that chance to come back left. And I don't wanna give it that chance to hit the rocks and roll away. So I'm gonna throw a Raptor. Feels like it's gonna be a downhill shot just because of this valley that we're in right now. So we got a right to left wind. So I'm gonna throw just a regular Raptor so I can get that little bit more glide. So that one's got a little bit too much left on it, but we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly where I wanted to land it. Like I told you guys, I wanna be left of the rocks. I don't wanna necessarily, this isn't a hole that looks like you necessarily wanna just fire at the pin for that exact reason. Because if I do and hit the rocks, now I'm not even gonna have a birdie putt at all. So definitely being cautious of those rocks and making sure I don't throw a shot right into them. See, like that shot, a little bit too straight, but should be all right, and probably too far too, looks like. So the first one's much better. That one's a little wide, just got pushed with the wind. I'll throw one more, maybe throw a regular cap wrap just to flex it a little bit more. Instead of throwing it with hyzer, I'm gonna throw this one a little bit more flex on it. See, that one might risk hitting the rocks, we'll see. Maybe just right of them actually. Okay, so that's a little deep. So the shot's definitely playing a lot shorter than I thought it was. We shot it at 375, and it says I'm obviously learning that it's playing a lot shorter than 375, more like 325. So you can't always believe the distance that you shoot. You gotta throw a couple shots, get a feel for it. Even if it says 375, it's playing about 50 feet shorter than it actually shoots. So that's something to keep in mind for me on a hole like this that has a lot of grade downhill to it. Okay, so my first shot, I played it pretty much exactly like I wanted to. I favored that left-hand side of the green, just so that way I didn't give myself that chance to roll. And this basket will be raised up during the tournament, so it adds a little extra variable to it. So that definitely makes a big difference. But we're gonna take advantage of the non-raised basket right now. But yeah, awesome hole, dog leg to the right here, hole 4. Got another awesome green with some rock work. Makes you think about the shot. Can't just throw it blindly into the green, otherwise you're gonna hit the rocks and roll. All right, we got hole 5, 624-foot par 4, tight, narrow tunnel. We got a left gap and we got a right gap. I'm gonna elect to throw this left gap just kind of with a forehand straight at the camera guy. I just want my forehand to pretty much land straight. The good thing about this is we have an uphill grade once you hit the kind of fairway. So the uphill grade is going to make your disc just want to stick. It's not really going to skip right. So I know even if I have hyzer on my forehand, it's just going to want to get a straight skip. It's not going to really want to get a right skip. So focus on hitting the gap really. That's the most important thing. Hitting that upslope and just getting that disc to skip straight. So just like that, that's pretty much exactly what I want to do. Should skip straight. Just like I said, the upslope, as you saw, hit the upslope and even kicked a little bit to the left. So I can throw that a little bit higher to get a little bit more distance. I just kind of throwing that first shot just to get a feel for the fairway and how far it's playing. I'm gonna throw a second shot, another venom as well. And same shot, just maybe a little bit higher. So same exact shot, got a little bit more hyzer, a little bit more glide, and just bite off a little bit more distance. But yeah, once again, the exact same shot as the first one, just threw a little bit higher to get that distance up over the hill. All right, my second Venom shot is the one I'm gonna play from. I definitely threw the first one a little bit too low, hit the hill. Second one, I glided up over the hill, landed in a really good spot. Definitely not a gimme shot from here, still a lot of challenge to it. We have a lot of trees at the left-hand side gap where the forehand's gonna be kind of the biggest gap. I'm gonna throw standstill just to make sure I hit the gap, get myself a putt. Something just like that. We'll see kind of where that puts us. Yep, should be about a 20-footer from there. I'm gonna try one more as well. Trying to throw a zone, this left to right gap, and just kind of try a different style of shot. See which one is better. So that looks good. Kind of throw a left to right. That thing's stuck right by the basket. So yeah, kind of just got a feel shot, left to right putter, forehand with a nice smooth standstill, kind of just whatever shot I'm feeling. And the coolest part about this hole is if you throw that right side gap, you do bring that water into play. Whereas I like this left side gap because it kind of plays away from the water, a little bit safer, a little bit less risk, and it favors my forehand, so that's always good. All right, so both of my shots were basically tap-ins, which is good, because as you can see, this green is a huge left to right slope, which if you hit high or low, it's basically an automatic roll away to who knows what. So if you're not making your putt on this hole, it's high likelihood that you're gonna be rolling away. So definitely something you wanna pay attention to. Just puts a premium on throwing a good upshot to kind of mitigate, like I did, mitigate this fast green. So if you're putting from 50, 60 feet and you miss by a half an inch, all of a sudden it's an automatic 3-putt because you're rolling from 50 feet away. So definitely a tricky green, puts a premium on throwing a good drive upshot to get that birdie. All right, hole 6, we got a 658-foot par 4. We got a landing zone that's basically pin high with the cameraman, just straight left. It's gonna play about 350 feet. And we have a height restricted gap. So I'm gonna go with a little bit upgraded of a disc, go with a fairway driver versus a mid-range, just because I have to throw it so low. It's gonna be more of a line drive. It's not gonna get much skip once it hits. We got long grass out there in the fairway, which is gonna make for basically a Velcro grab on the fairway. I'm not gonna really get much of a skip. So I'm gonna go with an Athena, just throw a line drive right at the camera guy and try to fade left a little bit into the landing zone. So something like that is kind of what I'm looking for. I did get a skip, okay. So it's always nice to see if your disc skips or not, just so you can kind of see what kind of action's up there on the fairway. And I did get a skip, which I was kind of surprised. So I'm gonna throw one more. Should still be in a good spot. Try to throw a similar shot. I think that first one landed right where I wanted to. So that one's similar spot. So that one got another big skip. I'm surprised. So we'll just kind of go up there, see if I'm too far left, too far right, where I'm at, and then we'll make the adjustment from there for the tournament. Yeah, this gap makes you think a lot more. Yeah, this gap used to be the tee pad, or this tee pad used to be the shot. Then they moved it way back there into the woods, which obviously makes you think about the gap a lot more narrow, a lot more height restricted. And so I think it's more of a better shot for the pro tour that we have out here at Bad Rock, since it's an elite series now. Got to make it more challenging, so I like the change. All right, so the first shot, the pink Athena, that got the skip, that one's in an absolutely perfect spot. The second one, as you can see, it skipped, and I'm absolutely blocked off with literally no shot. If I'm in a tournament, this is literally my shot. That's literally all I have if I land in that spot. So definitely aware of that. Want to put a premium on landing in this area. Even if I land farther to the right, it opens up the gap. But anything down here and too far straight, like that second one, is completely cooked with no shot. So definitely going to pay attention to that in this second shot. And throw a buzz. Just try to hit the gap, slide up there. Somewhere circle's edge or hopefully closer. But yeah, just throwing a smooth shot kind of over top of that short basket, trying to get to the long basket. That was pretty money, just clipped one of the last trees, but pretty much exactly the shot that I want to throw. Really happy with that line, the angle, height, everything like that. Just kind of got a bad reaction, but really hit the gap pretty much exactly how I wanted to. Once again, the exact same shot as the first one, really. And got a better result, but it's pretty much the exact same shot as that first shot. So yeah, kind of throwing Athena to this area, maybe even not quite as fast. I could even probably throw a buzz just to make sure I don't go too far like that second one did, and then buzz on the second shot. And I might even practice from here. It's always good to practice your layups, as you never know. If I throw a bad drive and have to lay up to here, I might have to actually get up and down for par in the tournament. So it's always good to practice from a spot like this. So nice solid forehand, should get me up there for a putt. So yeah, now I know if I go left or right from the fairway, I can pitch to here, and now I have a feel of how far that shot is because I just threw it there with that zone. So it's always good to practice the birdie layup position and the scramble for par layup position, which is right here as well. So always good to have both shots in your back pocket. So my first buzz shot hit this last tree coming into the basket and left me at about 50 feet, which definitely a makeable putt still. A little short. Whoops. It takes a second for me to dial in the long putts potentially. There we go. Throw the buzz. Buzz putt. But yeah, this is kind of a spot where you can land if you hit a tree and kind of trickle back here. Leaves you at the 50-foot range instead of up there like my first couple that got through clean. There we go, hole 6. We got the layup par and we have the go for it birdie with the buzz. All right, we got hole 7. We got a tunnel shot, par 3, 420 foot is the distance that it shoots. Actual distance that it plays is probably more like 440 because we got kind of an uphill grade. So your disc is gonna naturally wanna fade out. So I'm gonna throw a little bit more understable than a disc I normally would, just because of the uphill grade here. And kind of utilizing this right side fairway as like a flex shot. So I'm gonna throw my first shot onyx, just kind of force it with a little bit of ante and let the uphill grade kind of drag it back out. So probably about 20 feet right of the short position, gliding straight. And that should kind of be the line that I'm going for. Looks like a little bit right off the hand. Don't know if it got through or not, but it looks like it might actually went a little bit too far. So I'm gonna try to throw a little bit more stable. That thing wanted to turn a little bit more than I wanted. So a little bit too much glide. This one I'm gonna throw a little softer, a little bit less glide. That one a little bit too soft. So that's gonna fade back out left. It could be a little bit short left. So it's kind of somewhere in between those two. I'm gonna throw one more mid-range, just try a buzz just to see what the mid-range flies like down this hallway. The first two were fairway drivers. So I'm just gonna see how the mid does. So that one looks good. We'll see if it's pin high. Should be about 20, 30 feet to the right of the basket. We'll get up there and see what we look like. All right, so my first shot, the fairway driver, did go long right. My second one, it took a little bit off. It went short left. And then the buzz was the final disc I threw, and that was right on line, good distance, good line, all that stuff. And so I definitely think I'm gonna throw the buzz. It's not playing as much uphill as I thought, so I definitely can reach it with the buzz. This definitely the safest play. Takes the sidewalks left and right mostly out of play, and leaves me with a very makeable putt. So definitely gonna wanna make sure to probably throw the buzz on this hole. So yeah, Z-Buzz, the Dickerson Tour Series, that's what I threw on the third shot once I made the adjustment. So yeah, went from fairway at first, then downgraded to the buzz, and that's gonna be, I think, the best shot to fit this hole. All right, hole 8, we got a par 4, dogleg left again. Throw into the short basket. If you want to go a little bit left, that's basically, oh, it goes this way? Yeah. Oh, I got you, okay, cool. All right, hole 8, we got a 700, what is it, sorry? 750? 756, all right. All right, we got hole 8, it's a dog leg to the right, 756 foot par 4. You want to go to that short basket, but go about 45 to the right, and that's going to take you to the landing zone, and then you're kind of throwing over a blind hill into a basket. So I'm going to throw a couple forehands. I was going to throw the zone, but I'm going to go with the Raptor just because I want to have a little bit more of a right side finish instead of straight. So the tough part about this hole is there's an overhanging tree to where you want to throw it high to get out the gap and fade right, but you also don't want to risk hitting that. So I'd much rather throw it low, get myself out the gap, and then work with my shot after that. I don't want to risk hitting that tree, which I just threw it right into. Oh, it looks like I got mostly lucky out of the gap. So I'm gonna throw one more, try to throw it a little bit flatter and then a little bit lower on this next one. That one's turned a little bit too much. I threw it to the short basket, but try one more. I'm gonna try a driver actually, just to, because we have to throw it so low. I might as well throw a fast disc that's gonna be able to skip and go to that right-hand side. There we go. That's much better. So that's kind of the shot that I want. Go through the gap and then fade back to the right. Once again, that's kind of the name of the game. I throw 3 discs. Kind of the first couple are just kind of feeling the gap out. And then the third one is really feeling comfortable with how far the gap is and height and all the restrictions. And that's when I throw my best shot. So as you can see, first couple shots have been kind of a learning curve. And then the third one is normally my best shot, just because I kind of have the confidence of how the hole's playing after the first 2. All right, so through my drive, my third one is where I'm gonna play from. And we have this cluster of trees, and right in the middle of the cluster of trees is the basket. The tough part about this basket placement is if you're 20 feet pin high right or left, you have absolutely no putt. I'd rather be 50 feet short than 20 feet left or right, just to give you an idea of how blocked off this green is. So I am gonna throw a couple shots into the green to get a feel for how far it's playing and all that stuff. I'm gonna throw a force. Once again, we're going uphill into a headwind. So that's really gonna make us throw a really slow shot that's gonna be tough to get much glide and much distance. So I'm gonna throw it up wide. And once again, obviously I wanna park it, but if I have the luxury, I wanna land short of the basket to give myself a putt as opposed to left or right. So uphill run up is gonna slow down our run up. So it's gonna make our hips and our arm timing a little bit off. So I really gotta be prepared for that. That's something I pay attention to when I throw uphill shots like this. So we'll see where that lands. That should be a little bit short, kind of like what I want. Might be a lot short. Just because, yeah. All right, let's see here. So that one's super short just because we got uphill, we got headwind. 430, it's like a 440 foot shot from here. And when you're running uphill, throwing uphill, it's gonna play like 500 feet. So it's a really tough reach right now in this wind. So we'll try to throw another shot and throw it a little bit harder. Try one more. That one should be probably the best one. That one looks like it's gonna be about 40 short, something like that. But yeah, it's definitely a hard shot. As you can see, we're going uphill, we're going into the headwind. It's mostly the run up that makes it the hardest. So yeah, really a tough hole. Definitely not a hole that you're gonna birdie every single time through the course, but once you get it dialed in, it's gonna be a little bit easier. If there's a headwind on that one, nobody's reaching it. Well, it's mostly just because of the way the uphill run up. When you're throwing uphill and into a headwind, it's a 430 foot shot. Well, it turns it basically adds 150 feet to the shot. So I threw those shots way further than 430 and they went 350. You know, like where I threw, you're not going to see people throw much further than that. Like you can't really bite that much farther off because you're going to hit the over top limbs. So here's my shots. They're all landing short. As you can see, I'm throwing basically up in the air like that. So just cutting off all the distance. And then when I get up here, it's just kind of like spiking and landing short. My other one, my Venom right there is probably where I'll putt from. That was my best one. And yeah, definitely tough. As you can see, like I was talking about, running uphill, like a shot like this, it makes your arm kind of in front of your hips because your hips are rotating slower because of the fact that you're running uphill. So it makes it a lot more challenge. But as you can see, you have bushes on either side, left and right of the basket. And that's really what makes this green so tough, is if you miss it left or right, you're pretty much have no chance to make the putt. I'd rather land somewhere in this vicinity as opposed to left of the basket. So hole 8, definitely a tricky green, as you can see, but definitely doable now that I know kind of that I want to bite off that more distance off the tee. Makes it a big difference getting that extra distance off the tee because you have that shorter upshot into a super long par 4 like this. All right, hole 9, we have a technical par 3 up the hill. We have a height restricted gap with the tree limb sticking over, and we also have those the rock formation short. It makes you kind of play a shot a little bit higher than you want to, but then you also bring that limb into play. So you really just want to hit the gap, get up there, up over that rock wall, but underneath that limb. So it's kind of a tight, narrow landing zone that you want to fly through to get up there towards the basket, because you want to test that limb, but you don't want to hit it because then you have no putt and you're left at like 80 to 100 feet short. So just trying to get just past that limb, skip up there, land inside the circle. Got a Raptor in my hand. So that one turns, should be good. Skip straight. Yep. That one should be about 25 to 30 feet to the right of the basket. We'll throw one more. Try to throw a little bit more flex on this one. Land straight, pretty much the same shot. And yeah, both those probably 20 feet to the right of the basket. Not really too focused on trying to park it. Just hit the gap, skip, and give myself that 20 footer and play the consistent side of the green with the forehand, play the natural fade out to the right and not get too cute. So yeah, this hole definitely has gotten trickier just because you have this rock wall. Definitely a hole you want to birdie at our level here, out here on the Pro Tour. Yeah, you're gonna want to get this birdie almost every time you play it. Definitely makes it a little bit more nerve-wracking just because you know that if you don't birdie it, there's a lot of people in the field that will. And yeah, overall, well-maintained hole, lots of mulch, and got a cool visual of this rock wall that makes you have to get over it and fly over it to get that birdie putt. All right, so both my forehands pretty much in the exact same spot, pin high, just a little bit right of the basket. Kind of leaves you with a little bit of a headwind putt, just like that. So definitely a hole you're gonna want to birdie every time. All right, guys, thanks for watching the front 9 out here at Bad Rock. Be sure to check out Reactor Projekt. They have my hats, my shirts, all kinds of signature gear. Check it out, reactorprojekt.com. Now let's tune into the back.